First off, can you tell me your first and last name?
My name is Hilda Bridget Turner. Used to be Lomax. I came from the Lomax family, my maiden name.
Okay, could you spell it for me just so that we have it for a graphic?
Lomax.
And spell your first name?
Hilda.
Perfect. So you went to elementary school here?
Yes, from first to sixth.
First to sixth grade. And I mean, we just saw a picture of you. That was from kindergarten?
Yes, Miss Grace Kindergarten.
What was it like growing up and going to school here?
It was great. We had a great childhood. Our school was awesome. Great teachers, principals. You know, we had just good schooling here.
Does it feel like a flashback walking back
Yes,
to here?
yes, very much so.
What did the school mean to you in this community?
It means a lot. This community, even though I live in Orange County, Orlando, this is still home, and I come regular over here to see friends and family. And I reminisce. I ride down all the roads, and I remember all the 50s and 60s, you know, when I grew up here.
And where did you grow up? You said your house was?
Across the lake, Lake Mobile, on the other side, on Ronald Reagan. My granddad had some property over there. He built his home there, and he moved his family here from South Carolina in 1950. And I'm the first grandchild that was born in Florida in 1951.
So did you walk to school? Or?
Yes, we had a path that came across alongside the lake, and we would come in right through the back entrance back there. Yeah, I was baptized in that lake at 10 years old.
Oh my gosh. It's such a beautiful campus, and the lake and all.
It used to be, and I hope one day we can get it back to what it used to be.
What would be your hopes for what you want Rosenwald to become?
I would like to see it become a center for elderly, child care center, recreation center, a place that we can do like we used to when I was little. Right across that sidewalk right there, we used to have plays. They used to call them operettas back then. You know, that's an old term. But we used to do our little dances and have our little plays. And the people would park their cars all back behind you, and their headlights would flash so they would have enough lighting across. This was the front entrance. And, you know, it was nice. I can't even go there to tell you how nice it was. But it was awesome growing up right here.
So many good memories.
Yes, plenty, lots of good memories.
That kindergarten class photo that you showed me, who was your teacher back then?
Miss Grace. Miss Grace did this out of her home. She had like a little, back then, a detached garage right here on Ronald Reagan, 427. And that's where all the children in the neighborhood community went there. Her husband had made a little schoolhouse, putting the boards and the tables, and we learned our alphabets and numbers. And it wasn't a part of the public school. It was a private kindergarten. Kindergarten, it wasn't integrated with it. They didn't bring it in until much later.
And you pointed out, I mean, your aunts and uncles, your whole family seems to have gone to this.
Yes, my grandparents moved here from Carolina, and they had about 5 of their children was here. My uncle Billy Lomax, Jean Lomax, Alice Lomax, Bobby Lomax. It was a bunch of them. But this is where they came to Altamonte to settle, bought land, built a home, and their children went here.
I mean, it's so appropriate, the shirt you're wearing today.
Pardon me?
It's so appropriate, the shirt
Oh,
you're wearing
yes,
today.
yes. I had to wear my Altamonte shirt. Altamonte would be my home. I will always love Altamonte, always.
And it says it's where my story begins?
Yes.
Does it feel like this school is where your story begins?
Yes, definitely, yes.
How important is this school to the community?
Say that.
How important is this school to the community?
It's very important, and it has been dormant way too long. It needs to come back to life. And this whole community would benefit from it if it came back to what it used to be. There's a need for daycare, senior care, a library. There's need for all these things right here. But of course, we need funding. We have to get funding from the state or the county or somebody to help bring it back. The school was built in the 1930s by Julius Rosenwald, a Jewish man that donated money. From my understanding, when I read, he worked for, or he owned part of Sears and Roebuck. And he donated money to a lot of rural southern towns that didn't have schools. My husband's school in Alabama was a Rosenwald School. So this man took his own funds and went through the rural South and built little schoolhouses for all the black communities. And I thought that was awful nice of him, you know, because his school is also still standing in Midway, Alabama, but it's the same thing. The county shut them down. Nobody gave the funds to rebuild them or replenish and use them in the neighborhood. So, but if Mr. Rosenwald was living today, I'd give him a big hug.
Did you go to school here before the fire?
I did first, I think I did first or second grade. The fire was in what, 60? It was 60. So
And
if
then
I,
they rebuilt it.
yeah, they rebuilt this and they had to tear that down. So I must have been in the second grade, I think, yeah. Because we had to go to the churches, the local churches, to go to school. Because most of our teachers came from Sanford, and they would drive down, and we went, my class went to St. Peter's School, and we continued our education until this was built.
Okay, and then came back here.
And we came back here. It was a blessing that we had this, and it still doesn't look that bad, but it's a lot of work needs to be done.
Perfect. Thank you so much. First and last name, and how do you spell it?
And I'm ready, so go ahead.
Okay, my name is Mike McGinnis, and it's last name McGinniss.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
And you came to Rosenwald Elementary School for tours?
Yes, I did. I came here in 1970. It was the first year that white students were bused here, and black students from here were bused to Altamonte Elementary. And I was part of that first wave of change, I guess you could say. So.
And how long did you come here?
We were, it was my sister and I. She was in 4th grade and I was in 2nd grade. And it was, like I said, 1970. And we were only here for, I want to say about 6 months because my father's job transferred him to Tampa. So we were only here for a little while, and it was interesting. You know, we were a little concerned just because of the unknown. You know, it was traumatic times. You know, so we, and my father really wasn't all for it. You know, he was a product of the old school South, and so. But my sister Molly and I had a great time while we were here. We have nothing but fond memories of our time here. And we hated to go. We were really had some close friends, and we're making acquaintances. And I do have one interesting memory. I don't have many. I do remember the playground back there, which I hope to be able to go explore. But when I was a child, I had a fascination with trains, and we had gone to Stone Mountain, Georgia, and my father had a friend up there, and the train there fascinated me, and so I had a recollection of that from when I was like 3. And then when I got here, we had like weekly reader type handouts to the students that just talked about various news events going on, and one of them was them completing the carving of Stone Mountain, the Confederate generals and everything. And I didn't think much of it at the time, other than I recognized it and I knew that I had been there from when I was younger. But years later, I got to thinking about the significance of that while they had chose to use that in the curriculum at Rosenwald during those times. And I thought it was a little ironic looking back on it now that they were teaching about that here. So anyway. Loved the school, loved my short time here, and this is my first time back here since I was a student here. Even though I've lived in the area most of my life, with the exception of 5 years in Georgia, but I've driven by many times, and I've always wanted to come back in here and explore it, but it's always been chained off for whatever reason whenever I've come by. So this is a neat event for me. I'm really happy to be a part of it. So
just happy to get to see it being honored, this school that was a memory for somebody in this community?
Yeah, it's bittersweet knowing that, from what I understand, the majority of the buildings are going to be torn down. But yeah, just to have the opportunity to see it one more time before that happens. But yeah, just to you know, I would just like to wander around and try to remember those. You know, and it's funny seeing the fire truck out there today. I remember being here as a student 50 years ago, and one similar to it came by. It was like they just came by to show it off to the kids. But that memory clicked with me when I saw that fire truck sitting over there. So.
What would you like to see this become for the community?
Oh, I would love for it to remain some type of a school in whatever capacity, whether it be a select group of students or for whatever, you know, special needs perhaps, something like that. I just would love for it to remain a school and stay a part of the community.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think you're...
And his wife also was a teacher. Miss Cedar Mason was our 5th grade teacher. And everything went along smoothly. We had outside toilets up on the hill. We had to bring our own lunch. Everybody walked to school from around here. But it was pleasant. We enjoyed it. And I mean, the behavior was good. Every once in a while, you know, they had to take them out and, you know, punish them and stuff like that. But it was wonderful, just the old time way. All of this wasn't here when I was here, because I was here from the big school, you know, but that caught a fire and stuff like that.
What years were you here?
From just what year, 6 years old, I was here. This way we began at 6 years old, and we didn't have a kindergarten. Then we just came to 1st grade, and we did good. I went from 2nd to 4th, and you know, everything went along smoothly. It was wonderful. The school here, the teachers, everybody respected the authority. That was wonderful. That was taught to us. We had to pray every morning before we started class. They taught us Bible verses. We had to repeat Bible verses and everything. And we just had a lovely family. I enjoyed it the years that I was here. And most of my relatives finished school here, you know, and it was just wonderful.
Is that what it felt like? It felt like family?
Yes, because the principal and the teacher, the 2nd grade teacher, was my relative, but they didn't spare the rod. We had to follow the rules just like everybody else. And it was just wonderful. We had our programs. We had to bring our own lunch. But it was a wonderful experience for me. And you know, a lot of others. It was really nice. Our teachers were just like our mothers that we had. And we obeyed our teacher. At least I did anyway. On my part, I didn't have a choice. But I enjoyed it. And from elementary to high school, it was wonderful. The whole trip was wonderful, but they prepared us for high school.
What did Rosenwald, what does it still mean to the community, this campus, and the history that's here?
The history, I won't never forget it, because it was my beginning. They taught us before we was ready. When we left here, we was ready for high school. We left here and went to 9th grade. This was from 1st to 8th grade. It started off like that. And it was just wonderful. You know, when you have to accept things as they are, you don't have no other choice and you accept what you have. We might not have had everything everybody had, but when one had something, the other one did too. And this is that respect that we was taught from elementary school. It went all the way through life. And I still remember some of the things that we were taught in elementary school.
Was there a sense of gratitude that you had a school of your own?
Yes, yes. We didn't have no choice. We didn't know nothing but, just here. And everybody looked like the community just worked together. So it was wonderful for me. I love it. I can't forget it, but I love it. A lot of when we graduated, we left, went to other places, went north and stuff like that. But I thank the Lord, He brought us back here, where we once was. I thank the Lord, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it.
And you want to see it serve the community once again?
Yes, yes. Because the programs, most everybody attended the programs and stuff. Look, we worked as a family. And where there's unity, there's strength. And so I see that we can get somewhere. It might take a long time. Everything don't happen microwave style. But we have to wait sometime. And in waiting, that's where we get blessed with our waiting. We don't get it all at one time, but we make it like that. So
I love that.
Are you in touch with any of your classmates from the school?
most of them now, with the few that's here, but they were under me because I was here way back when. All of this wasn't here when I was here. But it was just wonderful that, you know, we didn't have much, but we enjoyed what we have, and we made the best of what we have. What was taught to us, we took heed to that, and went from there, you know, to, I went to Sanford, Crooms Academy, but from there, you know, if you don't have the finance you need, the Lord will make a way for you. And I wind up going to the college up here, but through the blessing of the Lord, not that I was so good or nothing like that. All of us have mistakes. But when we put Jesus ahead of our life, we can make it. All right.
Thank you so much. First off, can you...
1 second.
Bernice Cuyler, C-U-Y-L-E-R is the last name.
And Bernice, B-E-R-N-I-C-E?
Yes, B-E-R-N-I-C-E.
Perfect.
And you look right at Andy.
So first off, can you tell me your first and last name?
My first name is Cora, C-O-R-A. My last name is Sneed, S-N-E-A-D.
Okay. Were you Miss Rosenwald that was pointed out in the picture?
Yes.
Is that your husband pointing you out?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about your time here at Rosenwald. What years did you come here?
Ooh. Well, let's put it this way. When you get to be my age, years kind of escape you, but memories of what happened during the time. I was born in 1942. So 42, 5 years old, 1947, I entered here in first grade, as there was no kindergarten available for African American students in this area. So I entered as first grade. When I entered as first grade, Mr. William Hamilton was principal. During that time, none of this was here. The old building, not even the annex, the old building was here. We had an outhouse up on the hill there when I attended. Later on, Mr. Hamilton was moved and Mr. Muse came. When Mr. Muse came, this building was here because it was put in 1951, and I have the article for that. November the 4th, 1951, there was a dedication of the annex building, which was the principal's office, the teacher's lounge, the clinic, and 2 classrooms, bathrooms for boys and girls, and a bathroom for the teachers. And it's still here. That's the annex. That was a part of it's not original, but the annex to update the original. I'll put it that way. Okay.
And then what was your time here like? I mean, you came here from first grade and you were here to 8th grade?
Went here through 8th grade, and then I went to Crooms, as did most of the kids in the community. In this community, in Woodbridge and Forest City, all of us, Longwood, we were all picked up and carried off to Crooms. I finished Crooms and went away to college. Came back and taught here for my elementary school principal. First, I taught in Oviedo. My first year was at Jackson Heights Elementary. I taught there. That was 65, I do believe, 65. And then I was here until Sterling Park Elementary opened up. That's when they started phasing the school out to become an exceptional ed school. So we lost our roots, I might say, at that time. Okay.
That way you mentioned that. We talked once when we did the video with Commissioner Lockhart, right?
Yes.
You came here and
Yes.
you pointed out it was your classroom on this building.
Yes.
There?
And I taught in one of those buildings, kindergartners. And you might have seen me talk to some of the kids around here that I taught. A lot of them are out here today that I taught.
So you're seeing some of the kids that you taught?
Yes, yes.
What is that like?
Well, I see quite a few of them in the community a lot. And it's always good to see the kids that you've taught. The ones who are doing well and the ones that are not doing so well. It's always good to see them. It brings back memories, good memories.
How important is Rosenwald to this community?
It's the history. It's the only school that we've ever known. I didn't know of any other school. There were people who went to Rosenwald before me, and I have some pictures of people who were here in, late 37, early 40s. Pictures of people who went here. Some of them I can recognize the face, but I can't put a name to them because I was young at the time. But it was the history. This is where we did everything. This is where we had community meetings. This is where we did the May Day activities. This is where we played baseball out on the field. This is where we had picnics. This is where everything happened here at the school. This is where we had what do you want to say? What are the events that they do? Talent events? All of that was done here at Rosenwald.
What would you like to see this school become to the community?
A hub for the community to really to have a place where people can come and have their needs met. Some of the things that are missing in the community. It's a depressed community, as you all know. So we need things. We need access to information, not false information, not exploited information, but true information to help us do better and get better. We need health care. We need police substation. We need, just in general, daycare. We need access to places and things, and just to help the community. And most of all, things that would help to generate jobs for people who are in the area.
So in a way, it wouldn't be a school anymore, but it would still be a hub of education.
It'd be a hub of education, yes.
Okay. You talk about the sense of community. I mean, there's tons of people out here wanting to celebrate what Rosenwald was and looking forward to the future. Is that sum up how much Rosenwald means to everyone?
Yes, because a lot of the people who are out here don't live in the area anymore. Some of them are in Orlando, some of them are in Winter Park, I guess, some of them are in different places, but they heard of this event and they wanted to come and be a part. Yes, because their parents went here, their parents' parents went here, because believe it or not, there are a lot of young kids here today, relatively young in comparison to what I am. So their parents went here, and all of their siblings went here. My siblings went here. So it's home for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Cora. Okay, first off, tell me your first and last name.
Valerie Oliver, VALERIEOLIVER.
And what year did you go to school here?
Moms, what year did I go to school here? I was 5 years old, so about 1965, 1960, I was 67, 1970? 1970? I went 2 years. I went 2 years since kindergarten first. That's it.
So tell me, what was your time like at Rosenwald?
What was my time like?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What I can remember, I remember we used to have carnivals every year. And we had it where all the community come together and we all did games and that type of thing. And when I was with Miss Sneed class, we had these big, huge red tricycles. Them things were huge. And we just ride around the campus. And we used to play this game called Duck, Duck, Goose. I don't know if you remember that game. You're probably too young. It was called Duck, Duck, Goose. And I just remember having good times here. And we had book fairs. They had used to have a, gosh, I can't remember the trailer, like a little trailer. We used to go and just purchase books like 10 cents a book. So that was the fun part about that. So if I can remember, I remember too many things, but yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
So Miss Sneed was your teacher.
She was my kindergarten teacher.
What was she like as a kindergarten?
Oh, she was so sweet. I think I was one of her favorites. I think I was her favorite because she knew my mom personally. So.
I like it. So, you know, we talked about the fairs and the communities.
Yeah.
The community here.
Yeah.
Does it still feel like that with so many former students?
Yes, I ran into so many people today I haven't seen in years. So it was great to see everybody again. Like Irvin Simpson, I don't know if you know him, but we was in first grade together in kindergarten.
Does it just goes to show how much this school means to the community?
Yes, because my mom worked here 10 years, as a matter of fact, in the cafeteria. So yeah, it definitely has a lot of history here. Yeah.
When you think back on your time here, is there a sense of gratitude that you guys had in your school and your home here?
Oh, definitely like home. How can I describe it? Oh my, this is like coming back home. This is history for all of us. You know, just to get together and just reunite like this and see each other's faces again. It's wonderful. I couldn't wait for this moment. I couldn't wait this Sunday to come. Everybody's not ready for Mondays, but I was ready for Sunday today.
What would you like to see this school become?
I don't know for sure, but I heard it's going to be like a community center. So I heard there's going to keep part of it together, but I don't know how much. But that'd be great if they can keep some history here for everybody to still see.
And just the fact that it'll continue to serve the community?
Yes, yes. We continue to serve the community. I don't live here. I was born and raised here, but as far as I know, everybody's still trying to keep it together.
Do you think you'll keep in touch with some of the classmates or something like that?
Yeah, there's one of them right there. He's Irvin. We all get together once a year or whatever, do our little reunion together. So other than that, I don't see too many like I used to.
Perfect. So the first question is going to be the hardest. Tell me your first and last name.
Wow, Patricia Johnson.
Okay, and regular spelling on that?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So tell me, when did you come to Rosenwald?
What year?
What year or what grades were you here?
I was here for first and second grade, and it was back in the 60s, the mid-60s.
What did the school mean to you when you came here?
I was so young, but I loved coming to the school because I loved learning, and I loved my teachers, Mrs. Stevens, Mrs. Benbow, I think her name is Benbow. I'm remembering these names, it's like 100 years later, but I'm actually in the town I grew up in and in the house that I grew up in, which is quite unusual, but yes.
And seeing all these familiar faces here today, what is that like?
I'm very happy to see everybody come together for a happy moment, because we usually come together for funerals and things like that, but this is really refreshing, very refreshing. And I'm hoping we can do this more often for different events.
Does it give you the same sense of community as when you went to school here, where this was the hub?
Yes.
For Altamonte?
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I wish that we can, like I said, I wish we could always do this, because it's amazing how you just look at a person, you haven't seen them in months or maybe even years, and it's like you've seen them just yesterday. You just start up a conversation like you just saw each other. And so,
what's maybe one of your favorite memories from here? Was it the book fair or the carnival that we come through? Or?
there were carnivals, and we actually went to, there was a show years ago called the Circus Parade on TV. We all went there, one of my classes went there, and it was on Channel 9, and I wish they could go into their archives and find that grade that year so I can see what it was like. But that's when we were on a field trip to the Circus Parade. That's what it was called on the TV.
Are you still, do you see any of your old classmates here?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a joy to see that they're doing well, and I just can't explain how refreshing and how good this makes me feel.
So you came here for first and second grade and then transferred to a different school?
I did.
Okay. But those 2 years obviously made a big impression on you?
Very significant years of my life, very significant, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Why do you think this school means so much to so many people?
Well, it is, first of all, it has history. It's something that was founded for this neighborhood, and we had a lot of teachers that cared, and we learned a lot under their supervision. And it was a community where the village, it was that makes a village. It takes a village to raise a kid, so it makes a difference.
Perfect.
Are you the first in your family to go to this school?
Not at all. I'm actually the last born out of 11 kids.
And they all came here?
Every one of them came here. Yes, yes. My sister, she actually, whenever my mom stopped having babies, my older sister started. So I have a niece here who's about my age. And I think she came here for maybe 1 year, 1 or 2 years, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was very nice.
So very much
We have a strong history here.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Perfect.
Thank you.
I look too.
You'll look at me.
Okay. Connie McMillan Thomas.
Okay, and how do you spell Macmillan?
McMillon.
Perfect. So what years did you come to Rosenwald?
I was at Rosenwald from let's make it simple. I graduated in 1960 after 8 years of education. I started down here in first grade.
Okay, what was it like your time here?
It was home. It really was. It was a calm environment. It was a very structured environment. It was an environment that was meant for learning. We had an environment of teachers that were really concerned about their students learning.
Why do you think that this school, hold on 1 second. Herman, don't go anywhere. What she's done, I'm going to need you too. Great, thank you. What do you think it is about Rosenwald that means it's so important to this community?
I think because it was like a family, and it was more than a school. It's more like an organization. Everything that happened in the community went through Rosenwald, and the people, we had great participation from the community members here. Rosenwald was what we can describe as the hub of the community. We had weddings, repasses, graduations, you name it. It was here at Rosenwald. And plus the educational standards at the time were high. They were high as they could possibly be, given the climate of the era.
Was it part of that sense of pride that this was entirely your communities, that this school was built for your community?
It was a sense of pride. I don't know if we ever thought it was just for us, because everybody was welcome, but it was a sense of pride, and it was the historical significance of the school that I think helped instill that sense of pride. My father was the one, as far as I know, that discovered the history, because I have a document where he typed up the history of how this school was built.
Now, I think when we talked about it before when we were here for a different video, you said your entire family came here. I mean, this was brothers, sisters, cousins.
Right.
Everyone came to this school.
It was brothers and sisters. We didn't have any cousins. Brothers and sisters that went to this school. All of them.
Does that really add to that feeling of this is a family?
Yes, it does. 2 of them are here today. They were able to make it. The others are out of state. But yes, it was a sense of family. We would all share memories of Daddy, basically, because he taught both of us.
So you went here from first grade to 8th grade?
Yes.
So most of your education was
Most of my education was here. And when I left here, I was really prepared to go to any of the school. I was really prepared. The education I received here was second to none.
What is any maybe your strongest memories from the school?
I have so many. I think my strongest memories is the fun that we had. You know, the teachers made learning fun, and we were rewarded in a lot of different ways. We weren't given stickers. We were given a lot of verbal pats on the back. You know, you could do this, you did a good job. They did a lot of self-esteem building. I think those are my fondest memories. Okay?
Irvin, tell me, what year did you come to Rosenwald?
I was one of the last groups to come to Rosenwald. I think I did kindergarten and first grade. I don't know what years, but it was my kindergarten and first grade years coming here.
And you weren't the first of your family by any means. I mean, this is...
Oh no, I'm probably 10th, 12th generation of coming to Rosenwald. All my siblings, and then my dad and his siblings, all of them attended Rosenwald.
What is it about this school that means so much to the community?
It means so much because it's one pillar in our community that everybody can reflect on, having some type of memory of going here. The playground, the school teachers, the changing us and busing us from being an all-black school and integrating their, putting us with the other schools. So it brings back memories for everybody.
And now, I mean, the community is so in love with this place and that sense of togetherness that brings.
Correct. It's almost like a bittersweet day to see everybody come out, and good to see people that hadn't been here probably. I don't think we had this big a gathering in about 30 years. So it's a bittersweet day, but to see how it is now, which is only going to be better once they tear it down and then we see what it turns into. So it's great.
We've certainly talked about it before in the past, but what would you like to see the school become for the community?
It's probably about 10 things that I can rattle off real easy to make this for our community. And it's not just for a black community, because we have a multi-diverse community. We could add a health and mental facility, a police hub, civic center, which will be a community center where we can utilize when we want to have like family reunions, weddings, receptions, and stuff like that. A space where we can do, people can come in and teach different classes and stuff like that. Maybe some small housing, just a small version, if any. Renovate the lake area with a dock, a walking area, because that lake and that dock area hadn't been visited in probably 40 years. So it's easy. It's so much changes that we can add to this to make it better for the community.
And just being able to have the gates open and really be able to utilize this campus once again to be the hub?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's historical because there's so many elderly people that grew up and came through the neighborhood, and we send out emails and stuff to invite people back that don't live here to say, hey, this is a last chance to get a look at what the school you went to and being a pillar in the community, what it looks like now, to what it's going to look like in 2 to 3 years. I mean, it's great. It's great.
Some of the ladies I've talked with just talk about this is where their history begins. Is it kind of that feeling of this is where my family, my roots, my history
Absolutely.
all starts here?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then see some of these people that's probably in their 60s and 70s. I mean, this is why I fight for this community, to bring these people back and for them to see, you know, what work has been done and what work is going on now. This is why I fight so hard for this community.
Is there any specific memories you have from kinder or first grade from this school?
The one thing that I remember is when this is where I wrote my first love letter to my kindergarten teacher. And the letter, and she's still here, Mrs. Need. And the letter said, I love you, do you love me, yes or no? And she didn't respond, she just said, baby, that's a run-on sentence, and you didn't even put a period at the end, so I never got a no, so.
And she's still just as beautiful.
And she's still just as beautiful, still married to the same man, Paul Sneed.
That is a fantastic memory, okay.
Absolutely.
Anything else we need to say?
I think that's great.
Good. Thank you so much. So first off, tell me your first and last name? Your first and last name?
Margaret Nelson. Originally, my maiden name was Margaret Williams. And I married into the Nelson family.
How long did you go to school here?
Right here, I graduated from here. That's my graduation picture over there.
Do you remember that day?
Not the exact date, but it was like in 52. Somewhere in there I graduated. That's when we had to go to Croons Academy.
When you look at that picture, do you remember your classmates and the excitement of that day? When you look at that picture, do you remember your classmates and the excitement of
Every
that day?
one of them. Most of them have passed, though. Most of them have passed, but I remember each one of them.
So when you came to school here, it was before this part of the building was built, right?
They built this about 2 years or so before we graduated. We was in the original building, which was a red dirt building. Yeah.
What are some of your memories from here? What are some of the memories you have from going to school here?
Wonderful, because we learned then. We didn't go to school and mess around. We went to school and did our lessons. Yes.
It was strict. The teachers were strict?
They were strict, but they were good. We knew to get our lessons and to do what we were supposed to do. Because if we didn't, when we got home, we got in trouble. Yes.
1 second, let's do it. Okay. So when you came here, do you have any specific memories of what it was like at this school?
When I came here?
Yeah.
I started here in, I think it was Primer, and then first grade on through graduation, which was 8th, when we graduated from here in 8th grade. And my teachers was, my first grade teacher was Mrs. Hamilton. And that was first and second. Third and fourth was Miss Foster. Fifth and sixth was Miss Cedar Mason Neal, and our principal was Mr. Hamilton.
Was Mr. Hamilton Mrs. Hamilton's husband?
That was her husband.
Were you the first of your family to come to the school, or did several siblings or cousins come here as well? Did any siblings or cousins come here as well?
Come here?
Yeah.
My whole family. I'm from a family of 12 kids, and we all came through Rosenwald.
Did you walk to school?
We walked because we were in walking distance. Back then, we didn't have that many school buses. Yeah. We had a bus to go to Croons, but here, most of the kids walked.
So you'd walk with all your siblings to school?
Yeah, my brothers and sisters, we all went right here.
I've heard about the talent shows that were here.
Yeah. We used to always have talent shows.
Did you ever perform?
Yes.
What did you do in the talent show?
Well, a lot of times we would have to dress in different outfits and things. We used to have May Day down here and everything.
And did you guys have carnivals or book fairs that came here?
I did. We usually participated with them, but they came to the school. All the whole classes would, participate.
What does it mean to you to be able to come back here today and see the school and see so many old faces?
It's wonderful.
Faces?
It's a wonderful feeling. And a lot of them was my classmates from over the years. And I've lost a lot of them too.
Why do you think that there's such a sense of pride about this school?
I'll always have a lot of pride for this school because this was the only school in the area and all of us kids went. I mean, every family had somebody in Rosenwald. Hi.
You were fantastic. You did great. Very well dressed.
Okay. And you got to speak a little loud.
I got you. So first off, can you tell me your first and last name?
My name is Patsy Wilder Jerry.
Okay, can you spell that for me?
Which the whole name?
Patsy,
Patsy.
Okay.
Wilder, Wilder, Jerry.
Perfect. So tell me, what was your time like here at Rosenwald? You went in first grade?
First grade, I started in first grade.
What do you remember about your time here?
Well, I remember I was very young and I passed a little test and I was able to start at the last of my 5 years old. And the teachers were something else, but they were who they are, And I remember We used to walk to school, and it was just school.
Did you come here with some of your siblings? You say we?
Pardon me?
Did some of your siblings come here as well?
All of them, from my oldest brother to my baby brother.
So
yes.
how many in total?
It's 7 of us total.
So the 7 of you came to school. So all 7 of you came to school here?
Yes, we all came here to school. Yes.
Do you think the fact that so many people, your entire family came here, is that part of what made this feel like home?
Yes, because at that time, this was the school. You know, you already knew that you were going to be coming to Rosenwald Elementary. You know, as you grew up, you knew that this is the school. It was the only school at that time that we could attend.
Do you think that is part of the sense of pride everyone has in attending here? Is this was it? This was
yes, and yes, this was the school, and also it was in walking distance for us. We didn't have buses, so we walked here. Yes.
And you went here from 1st to 8th grade, or?
1st to 8th grade, and then then it became integrated. So some of us was sent to South Seminole Junior High, and some went to another school.
Which school did you go to after?
I went to South Seminole Junior High in Castleberry.
Do you feel like Rosenwald really prepared you for?
We had one teacher. His name was Mr. Kiner, and he would take, I guess, his earnings, and he made sure we got books, and he prepared us for our next school because in advance he knew it was integration was coming. So he would teach us different things like the digestive in man. He taught us why you should use directions to cook a cake or whatever. He taught us how to.
Was there always a train?
Yes, it's always been a train here. Yes.
That comes by and is loud. So he taught you different life skills and all?
Yes, he wanted to prepare us for the next school, so we would not be under. You know, we would be up on what was going to be next. I'm assuming he was probably fresh from college because, like I say, he would take his earnings and buy books. We would share the books. You know, he might could afford 5, so at least 10 of us, we would get together, you know, and read from the books.
Were all the teachers like that, of really trying to put everything into the students?
Well, for some reason, Mr. Kiner was that teacher, you know, that went out of his way to make sure we were educated and ready for our next school. You know, all of them were teaching something, but he took it upon himself to make sure, you know, we learned. He even taught us how to read the map for weather reports, stuff like that. At that time, it was an overhead projector. And he would, you know, he taught us, and when I got to South Seminole, I was ready.
He made sure.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. What kind of pride does everyone in this community have about this school and the memories from this school?
Well, most of us have great memories, like I say, mainly because it was the school, you know. And I can remember when we all got together, sold candy and everything to get that sign, maybe not that particular one, but a sign that represented Rosenwald Elementary School. Yes, I remember that.
What other specific memories do you have from your time here? Were you part of any of the talent shows or the carnivals I've heard about?
Yes, I was part of mostly the talent shows, and I was, when I first started early, I told you I started early, I was on the honor roll, which at that time I didn't know what an honor roll was, but I knew that through being 7 of us, we used to play something called playing school, and my older brothers taught, my brothers and sisters taught us things that they were learning. So when I got here, I was good. I was good, yes.
Perfect. I think we are good. Hey, ready?
1, 2, 3.
Dear Rosenwald, our hearts to cherish thee. Through love and joy and sorrow we have learned. Through the song. That's all. We don't remember the rest. We're too old.